Okay, we're recording. Welcome to Alt Majority. I'm Shae.
And I'm Shannon. And on our channel, we like to discuss things like spirituality and law of attraction and anything a little bit weird and bizarre about the universe. We're down to talk about, right?
Yes, anything that's going to lift your vibration, anything that's
Yeah.
going to make you live a path of love.
Yeah. And that's really it. That's really what we're doing this for, is to just spread a message of joy and love, mainly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And not to mention, some of this stuff feels a little bit taboo, something that you might not be able to talk to with other people in your life. And so we want to be a space where people can come and ask any question ever and know that it's safe to do so. So we're interested what you listeners have to say. And if you have any questions or any topics that you would like to hear us talk about, please feel free to drop those in the comment section below.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. So today we have a topic. Shae, I think you're going to start us out. You have a little thing to read about it. Yes.
Yes, well, less of read and just repeat. But
Okay.
I was asking my partner Peyton if he had any suggestions on what he would like to hear us talk about, and he suggested we talk about the body as a temple. He has been listening, and inevitably, because I have been listening to a lot of ancient Egyptian texts, and so he was listening to probably something on Gaia, which if you don't have Gaia, it is life changing. You should definitely subscribe to Gaia. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
And he was listening to something where somebody said that they found these ancient hieroglyphs that were they kind of alluded that they were like kind of like a meme of the time, almost like it was like kind of a joke. And they found this hieroglyph like multiple places that said,
Okay.
"You will keep building pyramids until they realize we are the pyramids."
Nice. I love that.
And it's
So
like, what
true.
profound wisdom is that?
Yeah.
That we can build temples, you can build physical things, but what the actual temple is you. The message is you. You were sent to this universe with your unique gifts and your unique message to spread. Whether that's, to a small amount of people or to a large amount of people, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And so true. How come we spend so much time in our lifetimes, just trying to be us?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Just trying to be who we are as a being. We spend a lot of time worrying about what other people think and what are they going to say about us. And this is just wasted energy. So one of our goals really with this channel, not only with talking to people, but just honestly talking to each other. And the more you vocalize this stuff, the easier it is to really manifest it and have it like take hold of your life. But it goes back to self-love. Every single thing we do, every single problem you have, most of the time, you can trace it back to some self-love. Obviously, we have outside circumstances that happen to us, but most of this stuff that we struggle with in life is self-generated.
Yeah.
Not that there aren't real life things. Yes, there's mental illness. People struggle with that. All of that is real. It's just when we focus on building our temple, our human bodies, this is really the key to self-love. So I love this topic today.
Yeah, and something that I want to say on this topic is it's not just what you feed your body, it's what you're hearing, what you're seeing, what you're
Yes.
touching, what you're allowing into your vibrational field. This all has to do with treating your body like a temple. All of those things play such a huge part in this like unconscious, subconscious layer of the brain that we don't always have access to. And that's why it's so important. I feel like I have for my entire life been super sensitive to just my environment and like what's the smell, what's it look like, what's the sounds going on. And I think that I've always really been tuned in into what it is my body needs to run properly. And I was saying this to you before we began. There's a yoga sutra. I should have looked it up, and I'm gonna like fumble it a little bit. I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna drop it in the show notes somewhere.
Yeah.
What number and what chapter of the Yoga Sutras, but it says something along the lines of if you're a child that's born into meditation, that you kind of have a level up of consciousness compared to somebody who doesn't. And for those of you who don't know, I was born through meditation. My mom had a meditation practice to literally birth me. And so I really think that I was born into this just like higher level of consciousness where I really think that's where my sensitivity to my environment comes in, because I'm very tuned into what my body actually needs to work properly and at its most at its highest vibration.
Yeah, it's because you came out into a higher, and actually decided when I was having you that I didn't want to use any drugs or anything. So I just decided I was going to learn how to meditate through the pain and to change the pain into something else and to think of it differently and think of it as heat or pressure. And that's what I did. And um, it's weird because even I've had natural births, I've had epidurals, I've had it where they give you like some type of drug or whatever. Yours was the least pain I had, just my mind. And this is how powerful we are as beings. And this is where how everything is energy comes into play, how
Yeah.
everything is energy. So like what you were saying about, it's not only what we consume with our mouth,
Yeah.
it is what do we consume with our eyes? What do we consume with our ears? What do we consume with our energies? We've said this before, we're all ridiculously connected. We don't necessarily recognize that, but we're affected by everything. We literally are affected by all of the energies that we allow into our space.
It's crazy. I mean, even things that you're not consciously allowing into your space. I was listening to another podcast, and Vastu is like the Hindu version of feng shui. It actually
Mhm.
predates feng shui. And they had a master of Vastu on there. And what he was saying is that you don't even know. But if you live, like, say, in an apartment complex or one of those duplexes where it's like half a house, or even just in a neighborhood with a lot of houses, the feng shui, the energy of those homes are actually affecting your energy without you even knowing it. And
Yeah.
like that's subliminal. It goes that deep that it doesn't even have to be your own physical space that's affecting you. It could be your neighborhood, it could be your town, it could be, and this
Yeah.
is where astrology comes in, right? And it's like,
Right.
what is it? I know that you can look it up, like places that like your
Yeah,
nose.
it's like astrocartography. It's
Yeah,
super cool. Super cool. What is so crazy about astrology is how well it fits. If you open your mind up to actually look at it and like check out like different aspects of it, you'll start to find things match and you're like, no way, there's no reason this should match. What kind of funky weird universe magic is astrology? I don't know, but astrocartography really just looks at the way the energies were aligned when you were born, and that's basically like on the planet.
hmm,
So where you physically are on the planet, essentially, the energy changes. It
yes.
changes.
I was listening to this woman who
Yeah,
said she's moved multiple times based on her astrocartology. Am I saying that right?
astrocartography, I think is what
Cartography.
cartography.
Okay, well, whatever it is. I was listening to this woman who said she's moved multiple times based on her chart. And she was like,
Yeah,
every single time, it's just like the greatest act of surrender. I don't necessarily know why I'm going to this place, but it looks like in my chart, that's where I need to go. And she said every single time, it's like, it's stupendous. It gives
yeah,
her something that's exactly what she needs. And I'm like, how beautiful is that to be so aligned that you can just drop, oh, okay, I've been here for a few years and now let's see where my chart is taking me. This is how,
yeah,
I mean, if you just think about the pyramids and how they were aligned so perfectly to all the constellations and to the north, east, west, south, I mean, just their placements. It only makes sense that we have placements as people who can actually move, as the temples who are moving, that we need to go to different places at different times in our life to access certain types of energy.
yeah. And so the more in tune we are with our energy, I think this is where the intuition comes in. This is where it's easier to listen to the universe when you have that open energy going, when you're when you're taking care of your temple, when you're paying attention to your temple, it's easier to move about the world. You're just more sensitive to what's going on. And so um how how do how would a person go about really paying attention to their body's energy. And I like beyond the idea of like, what do you eat? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I think we all get like the food that we eat turns into our body. We literally are what we eat. Okay.
Yeah.
So put the food in our mouth, it turns into us essentially. So of course, all that is important nutrition. We go on and on that. But I think it's more what I'm asking is like energetically, how do we tune our bodies up? How do we tune this vessel up, this container for our soul, for our spirit? What do we do? What kind of things do you do, Shae?
Meditate, touch the earth and meditate. I have found that my greatest insights and when I feel the most clear in my life is when I'm in nature and I have no shoes on. Actually, as like TMI, as naked as possible, actually, is when I feel the most clear in nature. And when I am quieting my mind and I really give my body that time to like listen to my body. There's in the world that we live in right now, there's so much stimulus and there's so much like hustle culture, right? Like I have to be doing something, but like going slow, moving slow is actually when I have the time to like allow my body's cues to come up and then so that I can follow them instead of keeping myself super busy and never allowing those cues to actually surface. So it's like meditating, being close to nature, and moving as slow as I possibly can are actually the ways that I really allow my instrument that is my body to have its time to tell me what it actually needs.
Yeah, right.
And what about you?
It's the same. Like I actually I like to spend a couple hours, and sometimes doesn't even feel like enough. A
Yes.
couple hours in the morning with myself, praying and just talking to myself, just meditating, just trying to just sort of like process things. I don't think we should be afraid to really face ourselves. And I think a lot of times, energetically, what blocks our human bodies is fear.
Yeah.
Fear of rejection, fear of not being accepted or liked, or someone's going to make fun of me, or something bad might happen to me.
I have a
And
question.
so, yeah.
Does fear elicit fight or flight? Does the fear
Um,
response, or is that a different? Is that a different?
no, well, the fight or flight response is like a physical, obviously, thing that goes down in your body when you're confronted with
Yeah.
something. Okay.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a difference between that, as in, hey, I'm in danger, like the lion's about to eat me type thing, where my senses have like noticed something and I'm like in actual fear of my physical safety type thing. This is so different than the other fears that we generate for ourselves. Very different, but it feels the same to our human body. We
That's what
can
I was
put
just
ourselves
gonna
in fight or flight. We definitely
say.
can with our actual thoughts. We
Yeah.
are so powerful. We're so powerful. We can put ourselves into a state of stress just with our mind. So this is where I got to spend some time on a regular basis
Regular.
figuring out that stuff and asking myself, do I have some hidden fears? Do I have some, subconsciously, what's going on with me? What is going on if I'm feeling any type of weird feeling, anxiety about something or trepidation or whatever it is, I got to ask myself, what's this about? Because honestly, I feel like there's nothing to fear here. And that this life that we're in, this human game that we're playing, can be so extraordinary, can
Yeah.
be so fulfilling if we can live our life without fear. Fear stops us, fear blocks our energy, fear makes us stuck. I think that part of me taking care of my human body, of my temple, is to pay attention to the fear and see what's real and what isn't. And most of it isn't. Most
And
of it
I
isn't.
was just about to say, just like you have to digest your food, you need to digest your thoughts. And that's the whole go
Yeah.
slow and meditate. I think there's this idea that meditation, you're supposed to be like sitting there, clear mind. But no, what you're actually doing is watching the thoughts that do come up. You're giving yourself, your body, the space to be able to allow these thoughts to surface. And then you get the choice. Do I go down the rabbit hole with that thought and really explore what's going on here? Or is it just a fleeting thought that you can just pass along? Okay, that was interesting. On to the next one. And so I think that, yeah, just spending time with yourself and really being able to digest those thoughts opposed to just letting them go. That's when the stress in your body starts to accumulate, is when you
Yeah.
don't allow, when you don't give the presence to the thoughts.
Yeah, definitely. And like clearly I've been on, and you two have been on a spiritual journey, a spiritual seeker's journey. I feel like my lifetime I've been on this journey. Sometimes there's been moments in life where I've really dug into it a little more than more normal. And now is one of those times where I'm just really, really seeking, really, really looking, really, really trying to dig all that out. I've been doing a lot of work with Master Sri Akashana, and he taught us the most beautiful, like basically witnessing meditation is what he calls it, where you just breathe, you just listen to your breath, you pay attention to your breath, the thoughts come, you just witness it. Okay, out it goes.
Yeah.
Yep. And you just let it pass. You just let it pass, and you just understand that sometimes your mind does generate this stuff. It's not the same thing as what it feels like when you get like the energetics from the intuitions. That feels different.
Yeah.
A lot of the mind generated stuff is what he's training us to just see it and let it go, see it and watch it, and just witness. Just, it's a beautiful practice to be able to just breathe, breath, and just let yourself settle. Just truly, truly let yourself settle and let the thoughts that you're having just fly through. And it's just one more way to really tune in to the energetics of our temple, of our container, right? That's really what it is. I like to do yoga. To me, yoga is such a beautiful way to transform our minds. Master Kashina talks about we're actually building our brain. We're not building our body with yoga. He always tells us that we should be practicing the asanas, that the asanas that we don't know, the ones that are hard for us. We should be doing those asanas more. And because what it teaches us, the more we do it, the stronger we get, and we teach ourselves, oh my gosh, we can do anything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? We can do anything. Like, I didn't think I could do headstand, but no, I'm over here doing headstand now. That type of thing. It's more than just, it more than just empowers your human body, it empowers your brain. And it makes you understand how powerful you can be if you choose.
Yeah.
We can do anything. We're so powerful. All of us are. And yoga is more than just the stretching. And I know some people go do yoga and that's what they do and they stretch and it feels good. Great, honestly. But to me, yoga is just so much more than that. It's what's going on here.
It's the flexibility of the brain.
Oh my God,
And
flexibility.
it really makes you, I think about trauma informed,
Oh,
it makes
yes,
you meet yourself exactly where you are.
it
Exactly
does.
where you are.
Exactly where you are. When I was like, I think I told you this story a couple months ago. I was like trying to do something and I couldn't, it just wasn't flexible enough. Okay. And it's like, I got this download from the universe, like, you're not being flexible. But it was more than just in my joints, by the way. It was like in life.
Yeah.
The more flexible you are, right? The more able you are to roll with the energies, just the easier it is in life. And I was like, wow, that's the type of download that you only get in those moments where
Yeah.
you understand it's, I can't touch my toe right now. Well, guess what else I'm not touching because I'm not flexible.
Yeah.
What else am I being rigid on? Where else is my rigid thinking like limiting me? And that's really what it's doing for me, the yoga. So to me, I just want to be as open energetically as I possibly
Well, even
can. So
simple.
I have to pay attention to
Yep.
what I'm doing. I have to move my body, but I have to pay attention to all the things surrounding it, every single bit of it. I should be conscious of. Be
Yes.
conscious of what I'm eating, be conscious of what I'm doing, of what I'm saying, all of it. This reminds me of, and I think I've told you this story before. I don't think I've said it on the channel about when I had the thing with the, I felt like I had claws. Did I
Yes.
talk about that here? Yeah,
That's
it's
it.
that. It's that same idea that what you say matters, every bit of it, every single second of your thoughts, of your speech, all of that helps kind of like create and craft the reality that you're in. But it definitely affects your energies.
It's
It
creating your
it's
temple.
it's creating your tempo. Yeah,
You are the things you allow in.
you are. Yes.
If we
So it's
take
like,
I have the 4 agreements right beside me just randomly, but it's just giving me this like everything is an agreement in your brain. You get to agree or disagree. I'm going to agree that I have to eat cereal in the morning or whatever because that's what I've been doing my whole life. Or it's just like everything is an agreement in your brain. And so you get to choose if it's serving you or not. You get to choose
yeah,
these agreements. And a lot of these
right,
agreements have been, passed down through generations. And
right.
that's why generational trauma is creating it does create our temples. Our bodies hold trauma from past lives, from generational trauma. And that's why the yoga asana, because you need to clear these channels out and open up, be able to move fluidly.
Yeah. And what's really cool when we really think about it, our human bodies aren't an I, we are we.
Yeah.
Okay. We are we. Our bodies are full of cells. All of these cells are conscious beings, all on their own. Your heart, for
Every cell
example,
has its own universe, literally.
right? Everyone. So, like, your heart is its own entity inside of you. You're its God, if you think about it. You are the one that is putting the whatever goes into your blood and your body, you're the one putting it in. So to your heart, you're the universe. Do you know what I'm saying? So like, I personally talk to my body all the time. That's the other thing I do, is I talk to my body. I try to know and really accept my status as a we, and I'll say things to my body, and I'll ask it to do things, and I'll communicate with it, and I'll ask it what's wrong and what's going on with you. And I'll try to pay attention to every single bit of the energies of my body,
Yes.
because maybe my, part of my body's trying to tell me something.
It was
That's
I was having this conversation with someone the other day who was telling me about stem cell therapy, I believe. And I was like, "Oh, what is that?" And they were like, "Oh, well, it regenerates your bad cells, turns them good or whatever." And then this person leaves and I was like, "I do this with affirmations. I have actually no bad cells in my body. I would never
right.
never tell my cells they are bad. You
I would
are
never.
all healthy, wonderful cells."
Yeah, that's definitely something I tell myself. I'm strong and healthy. I always say that.
Mhm.
You are what you think you are.
Yep.
Also,
Yep. You are
so
what you
if
call
I'm
yourself.
you are what you call yourself. So if I decide my body's important, if I decide my energetics are something I should pay attention to, um, it's just I'm that much farther along in being able to sort of manage all of that. If I
Yeah.
can acknowledge, hey, I'm actually responsible for this.
Mhm.
I'm actually capable and able to communicate with all of my entire body. But I can manage all that. I can choose. We're powerful. We're so much more powerful than we give ourselves credit for, honestly.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
just think about the placebo, just the placebo effect. Just that alone, everyone. If you really consider what is the placebo effect, when we have these studies where they can give somebody a drug, they give them a placebo, and the placebo shows up working as much as the drug, like what is happening? This is truly an indicator that our minds are the ones that control it. Our brains control it. The drug comes in, whatever medication comes in, and it helps, but our brain is the one we can actually heal our human bodies. There's lots of stories about that. But we can change it. We can change it. We can move it. We can move those cells. But we got to be conscious.
Yeah,
We got to be conscious. And we have to understand, like you were saying, some of the stuff that ends up in our human body is like generational. Figure we were in our grandmother's stomach. Remember that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy, right? If you think about it, you were inside your grandmother. So everything that she ate, everything that she saw, everything that she heard, it actually ended up being part of your human body. So this is why we say like generational trauma. Like even I was listening to this thing on I read this book about DNA called like the story of all, anyway, it was so good. The story of everything, story of all of us. I can't remember the name of the book. I'll look it up, but it's super good. But it was really, really explaining how genetically we're all connected and we're super related and all of that. But just the fact that they can tell the generations of people that have come off of famine, like it affects like like 2, 3, 4, 5 generations down the line. If I don't have the right nutrition and I have a baby, that baby is not going to have the building blocks, and then whoever they create, that's also going to show up. Basically, you can see it. So this, generational trauma, generational energy it's real. It's something that we have to just know. And I'll just say for myself, I know I haven't really I don't know, I haven't really talked too much about the visions I get from the universe, and I probably should talk a little bit more about that. I
Please,
probably should.
I'm all ears.
But it's like our human bodies, they are just they're an important part of our game for sure. We have such control over that, and basically kind of what I was shown from the universe is that part of what we're doing here, part of our human game, part of our process is to not only kind of like process our experience, but to really connect and help process like our families too. We picked our families. We've talked about this before, the soul family, pick these people. I had basically a vision where prior generations of women in my family basically passed down abusive relationships, meaning they were in unhealthy, really terrible, really abusive relationships. And that's what they kept passing down to their daughter, and then to their daughter, and then to their daughter. And I saw this basically, this chain where universe was showing me that I actually, before I came here, volunteered to put a stop to that. And I actually volunteered. I wasn't going to let this go on in my family anymore. And I was going to change it. I was going to break that pattern. And so I've been trying to do that my best with whatever like skills that I can possibly come up with, because, we're not born with all of that. So all of us come from that same situation. And if you look back through your family, they're the ones that programmed you and taught you to be who you were. They're the ones that passed down the climate, the culture that you live in, the energetics that are surrounding you. So you may have come from a place where it wasn't super healthy. You may have come from some programming that was kind of detrimental to you, that taught you shame, that taught you fear-based thinking, that taught you that you shouldn't love yourself. And that's what we really, personally, I'll just say, I'm here to undo all that.
Yes.
And if I can undo it in myself, I have a way better chance of passing down that better way to live to the people I have the influence over, to my children, to my grandchildren. I want to be the better example. I want to have the better, I don't want to pass any more trauma down the line.
Yeah.
I want to pass power. I want to pass love and joy down the line instead.
Well, I just want to thank you for doing just that. I know when we were together just last weekend, Right before you left, I was letting you know that just being around you, oh, I could cry. Every time we talk, it's like I just have like wells of tears will well up. But it's like just being around you really makes me want to be more even-minded. I will say that as your daughter and being with you for the past 25 years, I've seen you evolve too. And so
Oh
this
yeah,
is the most even-minded I've ever encountered you as, and it is super inspiring and just makes me want to do just that. So thank you for being one of my ultimate guides.
absolutely. I think by slowly over time, my consciousness is raised,
Yeah,
just like all of us.
yeah.
We come out with different consciousness levels, and I know that's true. But it's been a process. Like I said, I've been on a seeker's journey, just trying to get to a place of understanding and unity with the universe, trying to awaken myself, trying to raise up my vibration and just honestly, live my highest timeline.
Right.
That's it.
And
That's what I'm trying to do.
the eighth lemma of yoga is samadhi, is union with the divine. And so as if you
That's it.
the more you can just tap into that and really feel that, the better. I mean, the better
Yeah.
your life is going to be, the better of the lives around you. That's why I think nature is such a part of this. And I think that humans are really disconnected. I mean, just the
Yeah.
energy of the buildings that we're putting ourselves in, and then we're spending all of our days there. And it's like, just try to really connect with like Mother Earth. Mother Earth has so much to tell us. We chose
Yeah.
to come to her to learn these lessons. And
Yeah.
so,
Definitely. We picked this. We picked all of this. So this is why it's really, really important to try to tune into and connect with the body. The body is really this is how we interact with the world.
oh my gosh,
So
I'm just thinking, okay, even just the hieroglyph thing, right? Where we're going to keep building temples until they realize that we're the temple. And like
yeah,
no one quite knows how they built the temples, right? Or the
right.
pyramids, right? So it's like they tuned themselves, and I really think they did it with sound vibration. I think that had a lot to do with it. um they were tapped into a certain frequency and energy that we as humans have access to, but we don't maybe allow ourselves to, or we're obstructed by the other energies that we've created for ourselves. But they tuned their vessels so
Right.
so finely that they were able
Right.
to create these masterpiece pyramids that we don't even know how to explain.
Right.
They had to have been really treating their body as the temple to be able to build these magnificent things that, like I said, as humans right now in this
Right.
year of age, we can't even explain the pyramids.
Yeah, right. They didn't have a limit. We still have, as a humanity, have limiting beliefs around that. That there's no way we could have done that. We think we can't do it, you know?
Yeah,
That's where kind of again what I was saying about the fear-based, shame-based thinking. We
yeah,
really got to find out where this lies within us. You really got to find out where you're operating from a motivation of fear.
yeah. And that's
Because
shadow work, right? We
yeah,
all have these shadows that it's when you merge the shadow and you realize that that your shadow is actually teaching you the lesson that you can overcome. That's when you can
yeah.
really move on up.
All right. And that's what that shadow work is. If you're not sure what we mean by working with shadow, or you've heard the term shadow work, that's really what it is working with the negative energies within yourself and figuring out what is that.
Yep.
Just talking to them, just being okay with them, just coming to terms, just facing yourself. That's really what the deep shadow work is. It gets you honestly to a point of self-love. And you sometimes you'll hear like the dark night of the soul. People go, I think people throw that around a little bit liberally, honestly. I heard somebody say that just sort of casually on like YouTube. Oh, I was in a dark night of the soul. Yeah, well, when I was in a dark night of the soul, I was truly in it. And I definitely was not making YouTube videos at the time because I was deeply deeply within myself and trying to understand who am I and trying to really root out all of that, all of the trauma, all of the negative energies, all of the anger, all of the hate, all of the judgment of others. That's one that you can really spend some time digging out of yourself. It's like those questions you ask yourself, like, why do I care if somebody agrees with me or not? Why do I need them to do or say a certain thing? Why am I trying to control all that? So don't be afraid to talk to your shadow. Don't be afraid to accept those more negative parts. It's like that idea of the witnessing where you have that. Well, work on transmuting it, work on releasing the trauma, work on that part, and understand that your shadow is there to teach you.
And
It's there to show you yourself.
I read this book. It's right over there, actually. Yoga for the Dark Night of the Soul by Simon Haas. And basically, what he suggests is that the dark night of the soul actually is a spiritual path that people pick, because it's in the dark night of the soul that you do allow all these things to come up, and it can be overwhelming, right? And it can spiral people. But also, it's this invitation to actually face the things so that you can overcome them, so that you can then vibrate at a higher vibration. It's like so often I meet so many people who it's like, I have this intuitive gift that I can meet somebody, talk to them, and then I'm like, oh, I feel like I know what happened to them in their life, and so many people just don't give themselves the time to actually process all the things. They just like keep going, keep hustling, or keep giving themselves distractions. But yeah, when you slow down, when you listen to your shadow self, you can learn a lot about yourself. You can learn a lot about others. You can learn a lot about the universe. Your shadow self is there to help protect you.
Right. I was listening to this little thing by Louise Hay. She's kind of a spiritual person. She's done all these things on affirmations, and she was just talking about the way we talk to ourselves. And she said that there's two things that we can ask yourself. If you put on like the top of a piece of paper, I should, and then just finish that with all the ways that you think you should. What should I be doing? I should. And ask yourself, what is that? And then ask yourself every sentence of I should be, ask yourself, why? Why do you think you should be? Like, why should you be that? Or I should do this, or I should do that. And then do the same thing with I could. If I really wanted to, I could. And then fill that in and ask yourself, why aren't you then? Do you know what I'm saying?
Someone said to me once, oh, stop shoulding on yourself.
Exactly. I should. Why? Why are you asking that? Why do you feel that way? Why are you saying that? I could, but we don't. So why is that? That's basically what shadow work is. It's like really asking yourself and being accountable for your real answers. That's the other part that's sometimes hard to face, when you have to find out from yourself that the reason you did something was to build up your ego.
Yep.
You're like, ouch. Because I really wanted to blame the other person or whatever. I really wanted to blame someone else. But no, it was like an ego boost. Damn. Or whatever it is, right?
And it's just radical self-honesty. Being honest with yourself and not being afraid to be honest with yourself. And that's where, if you meet yourself exactly where you're at, if you come at yourself with this trauma-informed like programming, you can really help yourself because you can realize that like we are just humans and we came to this human experience, and sometimes we do just let it get the best of us. But step back, help yourself. You can help yourself.
Yeah, right. And I don't think we're necessarily saying anything new, Move your body, speak to yourself, love yourself. That's all the things that you can do.
Pay attention to your surroundings. It's like Peyton, my partner, he loves hard rap music, and every cell in my body is like, this is no, like I cannot listen to this. It's like, just the words are dirty, and I'm like, I cannot. So, I've drawn that boundary. Now we know when we're in the car together, like, Shae does not like or appreciate this music. So a big part of, I think, fine tuning your body as a temple is setting boundaries with the people that you love so that you can protect yourself. I mean, it's so important. I was just talking to my friend about this, how, especially when you are in a partnership or if you live with other people in a communal type of situation, it's so important to teach yourself how to just notice the crossing of the boundaries and just say it right away. Like, I remember first living with Peyton, and it's like I would fester. I'll allow myself to fester for like weeks. And then things build, pressure builds, obviously, and then it's like a fight breaks out or whatever. And we don't even fight like that anymore. But anyhow,
Yeah.
it's like as soon as the thing happens to me, learn how to use nonviolent communication to communicate how you're feeling. Hey, when I got into your car, it was blaring with rap music. It did not make me feel good. I would love to come to a compromise with you on how we can change this.
Yeah, right.
And so just
Beautiful.
boundary work. And that's what your shadow
Yeah.
can teach you too. What is your
Yeah.
shadow popping up about that you may need to create boundaries around to protect your own energy?
Yeah, that's really important to do that. So when we think about our personal boundaries, how do we create them? How do we enforce them? Ask yourself these questions. Are you enforcing your boundaries? Are your boundaries super rigid though,
Right.
where maybe you're just not you're not open? So
Sure.
we just have to figure that out too. Like, we all come with different backgrounds, and we're raised differently. We all have different energies. So part of honoring the human body is just paying attention to that part.
Yes.
So also, when we think about, how the body is our temple, so we've talked about kind of like what we expose ourselves to. And, you talk about rap music. It's funny because like one of the things I like to do is like pump myself up with music. And
Yes.
I definitely have like a lot of energy flow. And there's probably music I listen to that probably wouldn't resonate with you.
Right.
It's just the way my energy works. Like I like to have like self dance parties alone or whatever. That probably sounds
Oh, I
nuts.
think that you definitely
I
passed that one along.
I literally was dancing alone this morning. I mean,
Yep.
for probably an hour, just because I like the way that the energy feels in my body. And so this is where again, you honor yourself, honor yourself, honor yourself, and do what feels good. Do what brings you joy. That's the
Yeah.
other thing. Think about cutting out the things that you're doing for others because you should. You should be doing that.
Yeah. When you
Instead,
show up for yourself, that's when you can really show up for others.
yeah, show up for you. Take care of you.
It's not
Understand
selfish.
that if you don't have this taken care of, you can't take care of anything else.
Yeah.
Not anybody else, not anything else.
And
Also,
just,
how you do anything is how you do everything.
yes,
So, if you
literally.
take care of yourself generally, then you're taking care of everything generally.
Yeah. Yep.
Definitely.
Oh gosh. And it's like there's these spiritual paths, right, that really lay it out on how you can get there. It's like even the 8 limbs of yoga, right? You have
Oh, yeah.
your yamas and your niyamas. You have asana, which is essentially just movement. It doesn't have to be anything, any particular movement. It can be dancing, it could be bike riding, it could be running down the
Right.
street, it could be whatever you want it to be. Then we have
Yeah.
breath work, right? Pay attention to your breath.
Right.
And then we have, I'm going to say them out of order suddenly, and I'm like nervous. But then it's like concentration, concentration, meditation, samadhi. I missed one in there. And now I'm like, all right, I'm going to write this in the show notes because this is something that I need to actually know. But there's ways, there's paths out there, and you can fine tune them to what feels good for you.
Right.
What I found
Right.
myself, it's like I really think that I really don't like to label myself as one thing or another because I really feel like I'm a fusion of all these things. And but it's learning about the things and taking like the structural path. I mean, it's even Buddhism and Taoism, they all have the same structure to them. And it's like tailor that to what feels good in your body, take what serves you, leave what doesn't, and you'll just be able to find that it's those it's those steps that do help you fine tune this temple that we're living in.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, that we're in charge of it fully,
Yep.
and that we control basically. You're not, obviously you didn't pick your body in the terms of genetically your parents made you, right? But at the same time, you did pick this body before you came here. So you should be grateful for whatever form of body you picked. And that's another part of just the self-love. It's just accepting who you are and what you have for a body and what you have, what you've been given for talents and gifts. We've talked about that before, and really to expand that within yourself. And it's honestly the key to happiness is self-love. It really is. So taking care of your energy and taking care of your body and spirit, all of this is connected.
Yeah. It's so truly, and I would love to dive deep about just the female energy in general in a different episode about how we live in this cyclical nature of like being synced to
Yeah.
the moon, and so how that is just different than a male's energy, just inevitably. And I know that one episode I said something like that I need to like
Hmm.
redact. Is that the word, redact?
Well, it wasn't, I don't think you have to redact it. I know what you're talking about. Basically, you said something about women are affected more by the moon cycle. And I suggested that men are just as affected by the moon cycle. It's just that we're like obviously your body does the thing monthly that's really tuned into the moon. So it seems so much more obvious.
Yeah.
But or I think we're all affected by that type of thing. I think we all are.
Yeah, I think we all are too. I just think that like we chose these avatars for ourselves to like learn these lessons. It's like women, especially though, we go in these seasons every single month. I heard this analogy of like that when you're ovulating, that's your summer, and when you
Yeah.
the next phase is your spring, and then fall, and then winter, and we go every month, we go through these seasons. And so really pay attention and honor that in yourself. It's like I go to the gym, right? I try to go 3 or 4 times a week. Strength training is like so good for your body, makes me feel great. And last week I was like, oh, I'm just feeling low energy, and I should go to the gym, right? And then I was like, wait a second, why should I? I'm tired. I'm feeling low energy. No, I actually probably shouldn't go to the gym. I should rest. And it's just, once you become so tuned into your temple, though, it's you can do those things without judgment and without like feeling shame, because for a second I was like, oh, great. Now I'm going to see my trainer out at the grocery store. And what am I going to say to them? And it's like, what you're going to say to them is, I'm feeling low energy.
Yeah, right.
I'm coming up on my moon cycle, and I need this time to actually rest. Like, it doesn't have to be
Yeah.
anything except for that.
No, and when we're thinking about like the power of the law of attraction, um, like we know that it's the good feelings that actually help us to manifest. We know that it's hanging on to those good feelings, those moments of joy. This brings your manifestation so much faster. So yet one more reason to pay attention to your body is you get your manifestations faster for
Yeah.
sure. If you're paying attention and watching all that. Yeah.
I've decided I'm gonna retrain my brain, right? So it's like moments like that where I'm feeling like shame over nothing, right?
Yeah.
It's actually a beautiful time for me to practice stepping into being a guide and a teacher for people, and it's a moment where I can teach somebody this. Hey, I'm really fine tuned into my body, and I know that during my luteal phase, revving up to my moon cycle, I need extra time to sleep, and I need to go a little bit slower. And so I'm going to skip out on the gym for the next week as I allow my body to take the rest that it needs. That actually teaches
Right.
somebody something instead of me like hiding or like avoiding, which I've done
No.
in the
Right.
past.
And that's just giving yourself compassion, showing compassion to you, to
Mhm.
your own body and to yourself, and giving yourself the space to rest if that's what you need.
Yeah,
And you'll have other times that you're going to want to work out. So I
exactly.
think
I'm like,
I
I
think this is
know.
following that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just don't
Yeah.
feel shame. You don't have to feel shame about anything that your body is asking for.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Definitely not.
I mean, it's almost the ultimate game of surrender, just surrendering to what it is you actually need instead of pushing it to the side.
Yeah. And let that be okay. And let your body need what it needs and want what it wants. And accept that and accept yourself. And this is how you get to that even mood where you are able to just witness, where you are able to just let things go, where you don't let the trauma stay. You're going to feel the feelings. You're going to have the incidents. You're going to have the events that upset you. You're just going to, that's part of the human game.
Yeah.
But to not get the energy stuck in your body is what we're talking about, and really honoring your body and moving it out and giving yourself the chance to move those emotions through so that they don't stay and get you stuck into these loops of fear-based and shame-based type thinking that sometimes we get stuck into. It's a habit. It's a thought habit. Sometimes we just have the thought habit of talking bad to ourselves
Yeah.
or not honoring ourselves or not honoring our body. or trying to worry about others, what they're thinking and what do they need first. This is a habit that we can undo, and we can't truly serve others until we have our own things together. Our own cup has to be full
Yeah.
before we can give.
And that's why I
So
think introspection, just giving your time for introspection. I mean, it's even you're driving the car, right? And you have to slam on your brakes. That's a your body's like suddenly tense. Instead of going on with your day, whenever you arrive wherever you are, give yourself a second to release that energy. You just did trigger your fight or flight.
right.
And so it's so
Right,
many situations like that happen. You know, you're there and your boss comes in unexpectedly to your cubicle or whatever, and it's like
right.
you're tense or whatever it is. Just allow yourself the introspection and allow yourself to release. I mean, I can genuinely say that I hold approximately 3 to, depending on what's going on in my day, 3 to upwards of 10 releasing ceremonies for myself every single day, where I will just consciously tell my body to release anything that's no longer serving you, release anything that does not belong to you, because we also collect other people's energies.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
so when,
definitely.
especially if I'm at the grocery store or if I'm somewhere in large crowds of people, I'm coming home, I'm saging myself, I'm Palo Santoing myself, and I'm releasing any of the energy that has been accumulated on my body that does not belong to me. That's where like Osho
Yes.
shaking can be so, and I mean, it's like dancing, moving, you're literally getting all of that out.
Yeah, I think that's what the dancing is. When I saw that whole Osho dynamic meditation where you basically just like jump around for 45 minutes or whatever, that's what it is. That's really what it is. It's just moving the energy out of you. Yeah,
Yeah. And you can do
for
that, like
sure.
we've been saying. It's like then you can get to a layer where you can just do that with your mind. You might not necessarily need the movements anymore. I mean, for so long, I was like, okay, yoga, right? The asanas, whatever. But then you see these gurus who are just sitting in one spot in lotus position, and I'm like, okay, well, well, like, what's up with? No, they've gotten to the point where they can just do it with their mind.
Right. And what you do in the metaphysical translates. So then we talked about this before. There's that one asana I was trying to get to and I couldn't. And you're like, do it in your mind. And I was like, yeah, that's right. Do it in my mind. Do it in my mind. Because basically I'm undoing the limiting belief that I can't do it.
Yep,
Because somewhere in my body is saying I can't do it. But no, I can. So if I'm doing it in my mind, I can do it that way too. It's beautiful. Yeah.
mind.
So I think, yeah, mind practices. So I think what we should do to sort of wrap up this video is let's end it with some beautiful body affirmations. Let's just talk about what do you say to yourself. Let's do some affirmations. Feel free to repeat after us. Use these, write these down, come up with your own for sure. Whatever resonates with you, use that. But some things I like to say to just like affirm myself. I say, I'm strong. I'm powerful. I'm a divine being. I have the control. I am here to live. I'm here to create. I'm here to spread joy. Um, I have no limiting beliefs inside my body. I don't fear anything. I can do anything I want. I'm so powerful. I'm super powerful. I can do and have and be whatever I want to be in this life. And I'm so grateful for every single thing that I have been given, every situation, every bit of my body. I'm super grateful for it. And I I'm glad that I came here to this earth to have this experience. So grateful for it. So grateful. What kind of things do you say to yourself, Shae? Wrap this up with our last affirmations.
I am love. My body works effectively and efficiently to
There we
keep
go.
me healthy. My cells are happy and healthy. I am joy. I spread light everywhere I go. I hold on to nothing that doesn't serve me. I collect energies that bring my vibration up and I release energies that bring me down. I am pure love in a human form. I am the universe in a human form.
I love it. Beautiful. Beautiful.
I love
All
you
right.
so
Well,
much. I love you, listeners. Thank you for hearing and listening to us. And like I said in the beginning, if there's any topic that you're like itching to hear us talk about or any questions that you have, we should definitely do like a Q&A Q&A session soon. Or if there's anything, like any shorts that you're looking for, yeah, just anything, any suggestions, feel free to let us know. We love
Yeah,
you.
thanks.
We're so glad you're here with us.
Thanks so much for listening. We put a new video out every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So please feel free to join us at any time. We're so
And you can
grateful
now
to have you
find
listening.
us on YouTube,
Yeah.
on Spotify, and on Apple Podcast, and we're working on spreading that. So if there's any other platforms that you're looking for us on, please let us know so we can help accommodate that for you.
Yeah. Otherwise, have a fantastic week. And we hope to see you again with us soon.